So my sourdough starter has been underperforming the last couple of days. So I'm taking a little time to help rejuvenate it. So I'm keeping it out on the counter and I'm feeding it about every 12 hours. Purists would take, you know, like half of it out and dump it or turn it into pancakes or something else. And I don't have the time to make pancakes with it or whatever. So I'm just adding more flour and making it bigger. So it's been about 8 hours and we're percolating away, nice and bubbly, but not super foamy, not building up bulk. I think we're gonna stir it and let it live on the counter most of today. I don't have a lot of separation, so it's not separating the alcohol out, which is the waste for yeast. So my suspicion is that I overfed it without letting it have enough of a rest in between, because I started using it much more frequently than I normally do. And with this particular starter, I generally take it out and prepare it several hours before I'm planning on using it, and then I don't use it again for a week or more. Lots and lots of little bubbles here in this one. It's been a while, more than 12 hours, so I'm actually going to feed it and we'll see how it does. Okay, and for the sake of learning, I decided to do a little experimenting, so I split off a little less than, but close to half of my starter into this jar, and I'm not feeding it right now. I'm just going to let it continue to try to work through what I had given it previously, based on the theory that I had overfed it. And then this is the starter that I have just fed. So we will see how the two of them behave. On the left we have the one that I didn't feed a little bit ago. Still little tiny bubbles just chilling there. And then this is the one that I did feed. Much bigger bubbles. Fortunately, I can't really see through the sides to see the state of the internal bubble structure, but it's looking pretty good. It's been probably 10, maybe 11 hours since I fed the one on the right and chose to leave the one on the left to sit. You can still see there's some bubbles in there, but not really any growth. This one has had some nice growth, and I'm actually able to see the bubbles in the jar now. Nice. So I'm pretty sure that my mistake had been that I overfed the starter. Well, I fed it, and then I threw it in the fridge before it had really gotten to digest it. Took it out the next day, and then tried to use it when it still had not really digested it. So letting it sit out for a while and all that has really livened it up. Okay, it is about 4:45 in the morning. I wake up stupid early, so I didn't wake up just for this. This is the really pathetic starter that I fed last night before I went to bed, and you can see that it is reactivated really nicely, and I'm gonna probably use this one to bake with today. You can, it's hard to see with this camera, but you can see the bubbles through the glass now. And it's actually doubled in size, so quite impressive. So you can totally reinvigorate a sluggish starter in a relatively short period of time. Okay, so this starter seems to have bounced back really, really well, despite the abuse that it received, because this is the one that was out on the counter all day yesterday that I didn't feed yesterday until the evening, and I'm actually baking with it today. So I took some starter out and I fed it about an hour and a half ago, and it was at the blue line where the blue rubber binder is an hour and a half ago. So it is doing a phenomenal job rising. So I think its vitality has really been restored. The other one I popped back into the refrigerator this morning. I took it out for a little while to take a look at it, see how it was doing, and it looked pretty good. It was probably at its peak ripeness last night before I put it in the refrigerator. So that one will need to come out, be fed before I use it, be fed and let sit a bit before I'll be able to use it next. It's even bigger. None of this 6 to 8 hours business. It's been an hour, 2.5 hours. And look at it. It's so happy. That's fabulous. So the fact that it's bulging up still, it means it's still growing, or it hasn't collapsed yet. So this uses the starter that yesterday I was despairing. It looked terrible, and I let it sit out, and I fed it last night, and it grew really well, and I've definitely reinvigorated it.